did you find this? This is my scrunchie. Excuse me, where did you get this? This is mine. Hey, this is mine, you thief. A couple videos ago, I did an art supplies haul where one of the items I bought was the set of jelly gouache paints. Ooh, okay, I'm excited about this one. And I have just been waiting to test these out. I have never used gouache paint before, but all the art girls on Instagram, you have my attention. They got me again. I know this paint is supposed to be something of a hybrid between acrylic and watercolor. I don't have any big plans for today. I just wanted to make a very chill, hang out and paint with me style video. I have the tendency when I'm painting on paper to get frustrated in the process if I don't like it, and I'll just scrap the whole thing. So that's what we're not gonna do today. We're just playing around, testing it out. We're having fun. You know, I just hope both teams have fun out there. Okay, let's get started. Thank you. Thank you, that's very nice. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, you're my angel of music.
All right, here is the paint set. The brand is Himi? Question mark? It was $30 on Amazon. They come in different sizes. I got the 24 count palette. It comes with a plastic case, a mixing tray, and 3 brushes as well. One of which looks used because I did already use it. I think gouache typically comes in a tubular vessel, but this cup version I've seen referred to as jelly gouache, presumably because they look like little cute servings of forbidden jelly. And oh my god, was this difficult to open. Like, hello? I really wanted this to be a charming, calming, aesthetically pleasing video, but this was a bloodbath. Thankfully, it was just that first one. The other cups opened much easier. Then I arranged them back into the case in a color order that made sense to me. The product had definitely started to separate inside of the cups. You can see where the paint oils, juices, the paint juices were pooling on the surface. You're so welcome for that imagery. I'm just using a toothpick to remix each color. Okay, now that the paint is ready, I'm gonna set that to the side and set up my paper. This is paper made especially for watercolor. She's thick, absorbent. She's resilient against all odds. I love this paper. We're going to secure her to the table with some masking tape. I'm doing my best to make it even here to create a lovely border for our art. To be perfectly honest, I'm only painting on paper in this video, so I can have a satisfying tape peel at the end. I really want that for me. I'm also doing a line of tape down the center of the page because I'm feeling like I want to do 2 different paintings. And my inspiration for this first painting hails from one of my favorite childhood movies, the 1993 troubled preteen drama, The Secret Garden. I loved this movie and book when I was growing up. I went through a phase of childhood that I will lovingly refer to as my British orphan era. Think Harry Potter, The Secret Garden, A Little Princess. Some girls wanted to, I don't know, play house, go outside. Meanwhile, I'm busy cosplaying in my room as a British orphan. Something about that really resonated with me. Right, okay, so I sketched out a little secret door behind a brick wall, some plants, some rocks. I already didn't like my painting, and no painting had yet occurred. For some reason, I thought just giving it a wash of watercolor would help me not hate it in the moment, like just getting color onto it as soon as possible. It did not help, but it's fine. We're gonna trust the process. We're having fun. Living, laughing, loving together, guys. Live, laugh, leave me alone. Now I'm adding some of the gouache paint to my palette and mixing up a few different shades of brown and burgundy to use for the bricks. I also have this spritzer bottle of water. As you can see, it is water. Listen, I know what's in there, but I'll take any and every opportunity to use my label maker. Adding the water helped thin out the consistency of the paint a little bit and made it easier to work with. I'm trying to get better at capturing different angles while I work, but it does prove challenging to paint and adjust the tripod and adjust the lighting while I'm holding this little horklump who refuses to be on the ground. I'm going to paint all of those bricks, add in some grouting in between, and then I'm going to give some color and wood detailing to that door. Also going to give it some iron hinges and a fancy lock. And now it's time to cover it all up. I think I lack the self-control needed when I'm painting to know when to stop it.
All right, stop it.
Like, I wish I would have left more of that brick wall exposed, peeking through the vines, but I just could not stop it. I'm gonna try out a layering technique that is popular with scenery or greenery type art, where you essentially create dimension by layering different shades on top of each other. So my base layer for all the vines in the greenery is a very dark green, and as I go, I will layer lighter shades of green right on top of that, allowing some of the darker color to still peek through. So in theory, you're creating leaves that are closer and farther away, getting shadows and highlights at the same time. I'm adding a little stump in the corner here by layering different brown tones. I like adding the tiny blades of grass growing up around the sides of it. I feel like that really sells it. Then I'm adding some gray stones to the pathway here. Again, starting with the darkest gray and working my way up to the lightest right on top of the rocks. More grass blades, why not, to make this path look more overgrown. And if you're familiar with my channel at all, you know I will not pass up any opportunity to add mushrooms. I'm gonna sprinkle some around the log and our pathway. Lastly, I'm adding in some different flowers in the bushes and the vines. I wasn't really being too precise, just doing generic flower shapes. Hopefully that gets the point across. And that's really it. I'm gonna call it there. I sort of like it. I like it in theory. I think the perspective and the lighting is off with the door, and that kind of bugs me, but I'm just kind of over it, really. I'm ready to move on to the next painting, which I did already make a sketch for. It's supposed to be Odie lying on his back. In the moment, I looked at it and thought it looked more like he was blasting off into space, and I did recreate that imagery in a smaller version afterwards because that just needed to exist. But for this painting, I still wanted it to be connected to the first one. So the idea is that baby man wandered into the secret garden, rolled around in the flowers, fell asleep. Lucky for me, I did not have to draw this from memory. We have many archival images of this pose to go off of. This boy does not shy away from making himself comfortable. I was disappointed that these pigments really stained the palette in this kit. It just kind of perpetually looks dirty now. If anyone knows how to make it not do that, please let me know. Otherwise, I just have a green palette now. I'm gonna use the exact same approach as before, starting with the darker colors and just building up some foliage from there. And while I'm waiting for the background to dry, I'll start filling in some of his fur. I'm dipping back into the palette now to pick up some yellow and oranges. I'm gonna layer those together to form the centers of some big chunky daisies. Then I'll take my lightest shade of green to add in some loosely defined stems and leaves. Adding the petals of the flowers was the funnest part. I more so just pressed the paintbrush into the paper and let the petals form out of whatever was left behind. You might call that messy. I'm gonna go with stylized. Looking back at this footage now, I wish I would have maybe stopped at the daisies, but again, I don't know when to stop. She just kept going, kept adding more flowers. I decided to finish up Odie's markings with some watercolor pencils instead of the paint. I have 2 of these sets from Prismacolor. I love them so much. I'm not going to add any water to them. I'm just going to use them more like regular color pencils to shade in his fur. And the time has finally come where I get to peel off the masking tape. This is so satisfying. I could watch videos of people doing only this. I could and I wouldn't, and I do. Alright, I'm all done. This is what I came up with using gouache for the first time. I'd say I had a lot of fun with this kit. I really liked the versatility of the paint, being able to change the thickness and the opacity just by adding water. The biggest downside is that the case itself is not airtight, so your paints will dry out in there. I noticed them drying out as I was working. So I wish that was different, but I'd say overall, if you're looking to try out gouache paints for the first time, this is a good little starter set. I will definitely continue to use these. I thank you so much for watching this video, hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!